You say you interpret how you can spend the forfeiture dollars broadly. So
Yes.
violations are kind of difficult to pinpoint. I've read a couple of AG's opinions about it, and they're like capital expenditures, like capital improvements. You can't use it for capital improvements.
That is correct.
Right. But there's another one from Barry Disney that makes it seem like, you're not supposed to use them for operating, like your operating budget. You can't budget for forfeiture funds, so you can't use them for normal expenditures. That's why it's like additional law enforcement and prosecutorial purposes.
Are you talking about the letter that Barry Disney wrote
Right.
in regard to Bob Hecht?
Right.
I don't think that was a published attorney general opinion.
Right.
That was a letter written by Barry Disney declining criminal prosecution
Right.
of my predecessor.
Right.
So therefore, it does not constitute
It's
an
not-
attorney general opinion.
Okay. Well, thanks, but it's still saying that it didn't reach the criminal level for them to prosecute it, even though he took it and moved it into his operating expenses.
Yes, they moved that into what is called MSA 1,
Okay.
which out of our budget, if you go on to IFAS and you look at how the budgets for our offices broke out, MSA 1 goes into personnel costs,
Okay.
which would be salaries, benefits, health insurance. I guess that would technically be under a benefit.
Okay. Okay. So my question was, there might not be solid violations because it's a broad interpretation, but do you care about the appearance of how you're spending forfeiture funds? Does the appearance matter to you?
I will tell you that the money that we spend complies with the letter of the law.
Right. Okay. Okay. Let's get into some of the specific questions I had. Okay, so the first one deals with the Leadership Kansas expenses, and I know you paid it back, and I was wondering if you could tell me the story behind the personal check.
The story behind that was that when I came into office, I was asked to go through, or I was invited to go through, or nominated to go through Leadership Kansas. In doing that, I felt at the time that it was a good and worthwhile leadership development program. It gave a good opportunity to learn about how other people around the state lead their organizations, what challenges they're dealing with, and to be able to be a more agile leader. There was an issue that was raised over and Vic Miller was the one that raised the issue over Leadership Kansas and being a necessary or appropriate expense for us to utilize. At that point in time, being as new on the job as I was, and with what had just occurred with Mr. Hecht, we were in a position that anything associated with anything like this, I wanted to make sure wasn't going to be in a position to where, we're talking about one individual stealing $140,000 and then turning around and getting into a public pissing match over if this is a distribution that fit inside the guidelines. So I had the money, so I paid for it.
And so do you agree with Vic Miller that it shouldn't have come from forfeiture funds?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. No, I think it was a situation where if I would have known then what I know now, it would have been something that we would have dealt with in a public forum with the commissioner at the time.
The Marion Clinic?
Yes.
I know you talked about how it's additional prosecutorial purposes. What prosecutorial purpose did that donation serve?
That is part of the, as I spoke to earlier, that is part of the community outreach that we do to educate people on what the district attorney's office does, to educate them that we are not the big bad boogeyman, that we are here to help people, and that we are here to substantiate our other community nonprofit partners. They serve a lot of the same population that we do with our crime victims and the outreach that we have to do.
So what did that pay for?
That bought a sponsorship table at a fundraiser that was hosted last year.
Okay. Any issue with conflict of interest with your wife running the agency?
I don't believe so. Yeah, we give money to all sorts of 501c3s and